I want to shout out Curiosity for making amazing things, because this arrived today.
Oh, yeah, your notebook.
Oh, that's awesome.
I am so happy. So this is our Twilight Brigade Joy 20 JoJo inspired notebook. It's a really nice notebook. Like, this, I can't wait to take notes in this thing. I'm so excited. So
That's awesome.
This is available on our Teespring, as is the Joy 20 hoodie. It's a nice hoodie. So that's my plug. But yeah, get the notebook. The notebook's fantastic.
What a terrible movie.
Oh,
PsychGuy broke count.
Oh yeah.
There it is again.
We're gonna play Black Label today. It's been a long time. So in our last episode of Black Label, months ago when it was, they finished completing their way through the ice lock, defeated a huge ice skeletal conglomeration, and gained a bunch of boons, and then traveled back to the castle in the other realm on the island. I don't recall if I actually ever gave it a specific name, but I think it's just called the island. They then went through another portal after kind of taking care of a couple things there. Found themselves in what appears to be a different time, which they have at this point confirmed to be a different time, and traveled along a road until they came to a village. You were asked what year it was. You asked what year it was, and I did not have a specific time scale set up yet at that time. So I have that for you now.
Ooh.
The guard at the gate told you that it is the year 592. Darius, that time frame seems very like
Okay.
you're like, why does that seem so familiar? Let's see, the era that Morian and Talos were living in was CE 1684. So I don't know when you were born, depends on how old you were, but it was 1684 when you left the time stream at the very beginning of the campaign.
And remind me again, this is lock 3 or 4?
You were in door 2.
2.
You went through gate 2, yep.
Is it 590 something? 590?
It's 592.
2. That was a year off.
CE 592. Yeah. So this is around 1,000 years, well, over 1,000 years before Darius and Talos would have been born. Okay. That's what you know. So you had been told this at the gate. You relinquished all of your weapons and entered the town. And you find yourself on a large sort of main trade street that seems to run all the way straight to the cliffside. The walls around the village are on basically all the sides, and then they circle around the village and then hit the cliff, and then it's just kind of open facing down. But there's a little bit of an incline up to the cliff's edge, so you can't really see down below it from here. There's probably around 20-25 structures, most of them pretty standard sort of wood houses, and a couple of simple like shops and what looks like storage buildings, like warehouses, and there aren't a lot of people milling about here. And the cart that you had kind of seen on the road before, you can't see it anywhere. You don't know where it is. The one thing that does stand out is near the edge of the cliff, there is a big, huge crane elevator type system. So it looks like they can lower and raise stuff from down below in the fjord where the water in the docks would presumably be. So, And that's what you can see just upon kind of stepping through the gate.
I don't
Oh, what do we
suppose,
want to do? Who do we want to insult while we're here?
That would
Morian.
be the. I was going to say the insults. More likely up to Morian here, but
Well, I talk to them as they deserve to be talked to. That's it.
you're only proving our point.
Morian, roll a Constitution check for me. Not a saving throw, just a check.
Oh boy.
It's quite cold. Up here, up on the cliffs, the wind, and you are in like the northern region of the continent and stuff. You're noticing it is pretty cold. It's not like frigid like it was in certain times inside of the ice lock or anything, but it's a similar kind of just northerly, windy area. So the other two aren't really noticing it because one of them doesn't feel the cold and the other one has fur. So
I don't even feel the cold.
you definitely notice it's chilly. Nothing that like, you can't like deal with your jacket and stuff like that, but definitely cold. With that, you do see that the few people you see seem to be kind of wrapped up in like a lot of furs and stuff.
If we could stop at a general store and get a hat and some gloves, might help the concentration a little bit.
Question.
Yeah.
How much would you say I would know about Eladrin and their
About Eladrin?
seasons?
Roll a nature check, I think, would make the most sense.
Okay, nature +0 to nature. 11.
Not a lot. You've
Okay.
not had a lot of. You maybe had heard of the Eladrin. Morian's very likely the first one you've met.
All right.
I am
So
unique.
to you, they're just weird elves.
Well, can't you just do your weird elf flame step thing to warm yourself up?
I mean, I could if I wanted to waste that. I
Oh,
only
you
do it
can't
a couple of times a day, and I'd rather hold on to that till I need it.
Oh my goodness. For someone who speaks as though he has no limitations, you sure do have a lot.
I have no limitations now. I'm just biding my time till they go away.
Fine, let's
you're-
go to a general store.
He's stalling. It's okay. I think we could serve to maybe learn a bit more from a general store. If he wants to get his little mittens, it is. Would you like a little beanie with that, with a little pom-pom floofy on top? I think it'd look very good on you.
Second, I'm finding all of your passive perceptions real quick. So
Mine's
Oh.
Just going to.
-14.
If I kill you, then you can't help.
Be funny to see you try, though.
Yes, I'm sure you would get a laugh out of it.
Shall we continue then?
Yeah, I've already started walking.
Oh lord, alright.
so you head up the road. So far, you're not seeing anything that like really is an obvious general store. It looks like there's just like a small inn, and then a bunch of homes, and like I said, like warehouses up here. There are a couple of like stalls that alongside the road. They're currently empty, but it looks like maybe like at certain times of the day or certain days they maybe sell like, you know, general like farmers market type stuff like fish and vegetables and things like that. But not really anyone on the streets here right now. It even for how few structures there are, it seems like there's a very small amount of people.
Interesting.
Barren, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe everyone's inside, avoiding the cold.
I want to use a knowledge from a past life history
Absolutely.
check, if I could, to see if I know of anything happening in this area around this time or something. Or so
Yeah, let me.
and I get an extra d6 to it's 9. Starting off strong.
Wow. Maybe it's because I'm not wearing this special roll shirt.
Mm.
You remember the name of the village of Haran.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're thinking about that, this image, kind of this vague memory comes into your mind of fire and silhouettes from the light running through the streets of a burning village, and the vague shapes of humanoids with swords and shields and axes, and then it kind of fades away.
I do think I've been here before.
Really? You've been here?
It does seem familiar. A lot less fire, maybe.
Did you say fire?
I don't have much of a recollection, but from what I can remember, I don't think the place lasts.
Hey, Sunshine, we might not need that general store after all.
I mean, if you want me to start setting things on fire, I can.
I don't think they're your type of people.
What?
More barbaric.
So, simple folk.
Maybe. Based off of, they appeared to be using weaponry of, what I can call, of course, axes and shields and pillaging a town. Maybe.
It makes sense this place would be a good target, seeing as nobody has any weapons.
True. Very convenient.
With proficiency in history, can I make some sort of history check about
Go
this
for it.
place? Ah, if only I had advantage.
All you remember is when you were a young cub, was the elders in the clans always telling the young ones not to go north of the northern desert, because the humans up there were violent.
Oh, okay.
But there weren't like specific regions or names or anything like that given to it apart from just north of the desert.
But we are north of the northern desert.
You know that you've been told that the Rome is to the south.
Okay.
So you would assume that desert is probably in between you and where the Rome is right now, because the Rome is more of like a savanna type region.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, we're in the city of Haran, correct?
Yes.
Are you going to ask the library for a book on prawn?
Hey, library, could I have a brief history of Haran? Maybe written around 1684, give or take, like 100 years?
Roll a D100.
Oh, that's really specific.
I was not expecting something like
Wow,
that.
okay.
That's a
Okay,
93.
From within the satchel, you pull forth this ancient, dusty tome.
Ooh, I like
that
these.
the title of it is The History of the Northern Wastes. You flip it open and you look at the table of contents, and just to see if like anything pops out at you. And one of the sections is called The Pillagers of Haran, one of the chapters.
Okay. Well, I don't know what you two want to do, but I feel like I have some light reading to do for a little bit.
Perhaps we can take in the environment around us as you do some light reading.
Should we find a tavern or something where you could at least interact with some people?
I
10
think I'd
gold
be okay
if
with
you
that.
get into a fight with somebody.
I'm not so.
As you guys are discussing this, you hear a loud roar. Like the roar of a crowd at like a sporting event. And this is not like, oh, there's, 6 parents at their kid's softball game. This is like thousands of people cheering.
I think we found where everyone is.
And it's coming from the direction of the cliff.
I make my way that way.
You follow the road, and you get to the edge of the cliff, and there's like some barriers set up, like some low walls, and there's a staircase, and then off to the side, of course, is that sort of elevator lift system that I told you about. And you glance down, and what you see is in this bay of the fjord, there is a city that is probably 50 times bigger than what you could have possibly imagined from just seeing this tiny little settlement on the top of the cliff. Carved into the walls and built on support structures and stuff all the way down the walls of the cliffs. There are buildings, and there are more of these elevator lifts, and it is full with people. And down in the bay itself, there's a huge elaborate dock. There are several ships, sort of smaller vessels. But then you see the cause of the cheering. An enormous, dragon-proud Viking longboat is rowing into the bay to the cacophonous cheers of the citizens.
What does your book say about that?
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly start just... Okay. Turn to the chapter, Viking... Or not Viking,
Yeah.
but longboat.
You flip to the chapter, The Pillagers of Haran, and opposed to what you were thinking about Haran being pillaged, a brief, quick skimming through it talks about how the citizens of Haran were the most notorious pillagers of the entire surrounding area.
Sounds like my kind of people.
These people are...
This place is amazing. I don't want to leave.
I don't...
So, looking down, and you can see people on all kinds of levels that are just like, they're stopping to cheer the return of the ship in the midst of their day-to-day stuff. Every single individual that you can see clearly is armed.
Well, what the hell? I'm marching back to the gate, asking what's up with the cliffs and why they get to have weapons.
I'm going to follow at a distance.
You're actually going to go back and ask?
Yeah.
All right. The guard that's at the gate says, citizens are allowed to carry what they will.
It's gonna be like that, huh?
It's going to be like that.
How do you become a citizen?
That's not something that we usually offer out to people that just stroll in. But perhaps if you impress the chief. Not that I think you're capable of doing that.
He's certainly
You
not.
watch it.
I have been watching it, and what I've seen is you're going to get yourself killed right quick.
Right? We're going back through door 2, out to door 1. We're gonna find the mold that this guy is related to, and we're gonna crush it.
Morian, darling, I don't think he understands what that means. Kind
I-
of a
Yeah.
threat to him.
He doesn't understand anything.
I'm just gonna take. I'm not happy about it, but I'm taking my big furry mitt and just sticking it over Morian's mouth, and I'm dragging him away.
Before I follow them,
Morian, are you resisting?
No, I know better.
Okay.
When this happens, I have to let it happen because it means I'll stay alive.
yeah, before I go follow after them, I do have a question real quick. I was curious, have you ever heard of a tribe or order of any wolfmen? Or something of the sort around these parts?
Wolfmen. There are rumors about a clan of wolves, men that become wolves, but it's mostly just stories people tell to their children.
Well, you better be listening to ghost stories, because you're living steps into the moonlight.
Ooh, show him the book. Show him what happens to him over time.
Morian, I don't think we should be messing with the timeline.
We are so going to mess with the timeline.
I mean, we will to an extent.
I mean, aren't we? How do we know that our actions just aren't a part of history as it's happened? Like we were always.
That is
supposed to be
true.
here.
If we killed this man right now, what effects would that really have on us? Future?
I'm going to start looking through my book for any names of any kind.
But that also means that there's nothing we can do in the past to make this guy not born.
Oh.
Theoretically, if that's of course how this is all working.
That made me sad.
You also don't have super precise control over when you go. You can go through these portals, and as far as you know, they're kind of locked in certain periods. So far. So, it might not allow you to go back to any sort of super specific point to try and do things like that. At least not yet.
Hmm?
I wonder. Suppose I'm assuming I'm have walked away at this point.
Yeah, you guys have stepped away from the gates.
Suppose we purchase a weapon or two. Of course, not the same weapons as we're used to, but could be something. Blend in a little bit.
That was a really nice spear.
We'll get it back, of course.
I mean, you might need a weapon, but I got mine.
I've got mine. Tap my tome.
Have, of course, weaponry, but it's not as readily available.
I mean, we could go. I wouldn't mind seeing if we could get one. That'd be pretty great. General store it is.
Down a lift, then.
You can take the stairs,
Oh.
and the lift is currently not at the top, so you
that's
pretty much have
probably
to. So you start going down the stairs. They're cut into the side of the cliff, and just not very long. 20, 30 steps down, and you kind of get into the first ring of structures built into the side of the cliff and whatnot. And you can see all kinds of different types of buildings and whatnot, but there's very clearly a general store on this level. It looks like most of the craftsman type stuff are on this level, and then it's all like fishing, boating, all that kind of stuff is down more on the lower level. So there's like a blacksmith and a general store and a tailor and things like that here. So you definitely can see a couple of those shops. There's a lot of people milling about. Most of them aren't giving you too much notice. If you get a few looks, just because you're new and one of you is a lion person. But you can assume that most of them have probably seen a Leonin or at least other types of beastkin at points at times. So they're it's not completely unusual. But Yeah, most people seem to be heading down to the lower levels as the ship is coming into dock. And as you were kind of watching that, you can see it. It's they're rolling their sails and bringing in the oars as they approach the docks and whatnot.
Well, we could either go and visit a blacksmith, or we could take a gander.
I'm trying to figure out how anyone's gonna believe I'm a citizen of this place. But it'll be fun to try.
No, we'd have to prove ourselves to the chief, I believe is what he had said.
Alright. I just look aside to the nearest person that I see and say, hey, where's the chief?
The ship just arrived back. They haven't unloaded yet.
Oh, the chief's on the boat.
Taking part in it's honor. It's not. No, you're not going to send people out to fight on your behalf. It's foolish. It's disrespectful.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Do you hear that, Morian? Sending people out on your behalf is disrespectful.
All right. When have I ever respected anybody?
Fair point.
This guy's practically Dr. Disrespect.
I respect those who earn it. Nobody's earned it yet.
Honestly, I don't care if you respect me or not. It's not worth contemplating.
And I respect that.
Still don't care. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna try to make my way down towards the chief if we can't find, and keep a lookout for any, like, weapon shops along the way.
Yeah, I mean, the only one that really stands out is the blacksmith here. It's a very large facility. It doesn't look like it's really like there's competitors. It's kind of like a whole community thing of they do all of the crafting here. So there's multiple little forges set up in it. A lot of it's open air.
Okay.
So.
Do I see any crossbows? Any light crossbows? Anybody working on any?
They do not have any crossbows. It's almost all swords, axes, shields, spears. A few bows and arrows.
They're like hand axes.
They have hand axes, battle axes, great axes. Yeah, there's definitely axes are favored of these people.
Do they have daggers?
Versatility. Yeah, there's some daggers.
Right? I was walking up too. Is there anyone who looks like they're in charge of the place?
There's a handful of people that are like actively working on like crafting stuff. There's not any of them that seems to necessarily be in charge over anyone else, from what you can tell right now.
So this is kind of like, it's, you know how like there's big old buildings where like artists are together to work on all their own stuff and sell it? Is that kind of like that, but for blacksmiths?
Yes and no. From looking at it, what it seems to be is that they don't really sell this stuff. It's made for the community.
Oh.
And it's not really a shop in so much as some of the other shops are. Whereas it is like they're just provided the materials and stuff, and then they craft things for the warriors. And I mean, there's also a few farming implements and things like that mixed amongst it all. So it's less buy and sell and more like what do our people need right now?
Okay. Well, hey Smithy, I need me an axe.
And who do you think you are?
Someone who just came back from a huge ordeal.
I don't know you, so I ain't going to sell you nothing.
My name is Darius. What is your name?
Halfdan.
Well,
And you aren't getting anything either.
Well, now we know each other, so you're not a man of your word?
My word is, don't sell to outsiders.
And how do you know they're outsiders?
Because I'm not a fool.
You know every single person in this city.
Right?
It's a lot of people.
That doesn't seem possible.
Morian, dear, you're selling yourself as an outsider.
Look at me. obviously I'm an outsider.
At a quick glance of all of you, like everyone in the city is wearing like furs and like leather and stuff, and you guys are like fancy coat, you know, like
that has
chainmail. Yeah, but it's like a checkered coat.
Kind of. It's a white one right now.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
okay.
have fur.
Yes, you do, but it's attached to you.
Morian's
in-
wearing leather.
I'm in clothes way fancier than these people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like all of you are dressed in like more like. Apart from maybe Talos, who's basically just wearing armor, but you're also a giant lion man, so you stand out just based on that. Yeah, you all stand out very visibly.
Then I guess I'm just gonna keep. Since this isn't being fruitful, I'm just gonna go down towards the chief. The thing is, why are we even trying to prove ourselves to this place? What can we just like? We could just leave if we needed to.
Well, theoretically,
Absolutely
of course,
could
we
just
could
leave.
leave. We don't need these people.
They are below us. Literally, if we're standing up there.
Good day, Haftar. We won't meet again, and it really hasn't been a pleasure.
Do you think this is one of those societies where if you go beat him up, he'll respect you?
Likely. I would assume so, and I was half tempted to challenge the blacksmith myself. But, of course, I'm better suited with weapons, and I'd rather not show all of my cards yet.
I mean, you could just take one that they're not working on and just go to town.
I suppose so, but honor here, isn't it? If we want to work our way in, we have to follow their code.
What are we even trying to do? Where... I'm gonna take out the compass.
Worst case scenario, we leave, nothing happens, and we go on our way. Best case scenario, we make some high acquaintances and have allies here in this land that we know to be very, very respected pillagers and strong
Yeah.
people.
But for when we're from, these people will be long dead.
Sure, but we're not necessarily going to be here one time, are we? It'd be beneficial now and again.
So,
Morian and
we're-
Talos, roll history checks for me.
15.
17.
Yeah, neither of you remember any sort of like Viking groups that resemble this in like style or anything like that. However, Morian, you do remember in the Northern Seas a very serious piracy problem when you were living in what's it called? Anon.
So...
So they're pirates.
Well, obviously their group of warriors got a little deregulated and turned more to piracy than their own pillaging and everything.
Advantageous.
Maybe we speed that up and get rid of their chief.
One way to put it.
I could become the new chief.
I would
think-
like to see you try.
That would be very funny. I think it would be more beneficial to us if we were in high regard with the chief himself and made him an ally. That way we don't have to be there all the time. Have you ever read the Chronicles of Narnia? It's kind of a Prince Caspian and then the... no, the...
That wasn't written yet when you were alive.
Oh yeah, that lion guy. He's my favorite. Morian as a Viking chief. Ugh, could you
It
imagine?
would be very amusing. One person would challenge him to combat and he'd be dead immediately. And be a reign that would last probably a week.
Okay.
Listen, I could just see Morian on a boat with like 50 guys who are all stronger than he is, and nowhere for him to go after he says the wrong thing.
It would be amusing to watch.
It would be. Oh my, okay. We're doing this because I have got to see this.
You know what? I'm down with this.
You know, let's go.
And
We're going,
this is how my reign starts, by underestimating my abilities and imposing me on the populace. I'm okay with this.
I'm taking my claws out and just raking it across one of the anvils as I leave.
It makes a not fun sound.
Good.
Okay, so by backing up just a little bit, Morian had pulled out the watch.
Yes.
I'm going to retcon something about the watch. It does show you where you are.
Oh.
Because
It
I
upgraded.
didn't have it do that before, and I realized that just made things way too annoying and difficult because I hate travel and searching for things when I can get you to much more fun set pieces. So it's
Hey, look, it upgraded when we unlocked the first key, and now it tells us
yeah,
where
that's
we are.
exactly what happened, and it's not me just realizing I didn't like what it was before.
That's insane. We didn't check it after we. Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
I wonder
Guys,
if,
we should unlock more keys to see what it does.
I wonder if you guys can see this map.
Yeah, okay, yes.
So you guys are here,
Well, look at us.
Oh.
and the one of the dots for a lock is there,
Okay.
and one of them is there.
So we were the one. I imagine we came north from where we were. Or did we?
You appeared in this forest.
Oh, that's right, because we headed...
That's where the portal is. There's lightly forested area.
Oh, okay. So wait,
And you just headed straight down here.
So which lock did we just do?
The one that you did was all the way over here. It was on the other continent.
And we walked. Okay, so we got out of that continent.
You went through that portal. This
Oh,
portal
and
did not come out in the same location.
it dumped us off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, that's good to know where we are, because that I would have had no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to specify that. So yeah, the portals do not drop you off in the same location. It's different in every reference. So you guys are on the other continent, that opposite of what you were when you were in the dinosaur times.
So if I look around with my special eye, and then close it, does anything like change?
No. You do notice when you're only looking with your special eye, you can kind of very faintly like see people's auras around them.
Oh.
Nothing super duper fancy. You can just kind of see a little bit of a glow.
Cool.
But you don't know what that would really do or how useful that would be.
What does Talos's aura look like?
Talos' aura is very dark, with a lot of deep blues and purples.
What do Morian and Darius's auras look like?
Morian's is very vibrant, very yellow, orange, red. And Darius does not have an aura.
Interesting.
Something wrong.
Deep dark blue aura? You have no aura.
Well, seeing as he used to be dead, I'm not surprised.
I wonder if you have an aura when you transform.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'm not doing it right now for
I'm
testing purposes.
sitting down in spot and just writing notes. Not vampire aura question mark.
He's clearly a werewolf.
Yes, I have that in here already. Kind of want him to be a vampire also.
So which one of us again is unique?
I think we all are. Well, I'm
some
less
extent,
unique.
but
Why? What's mine?
Pink and sparkly.
It's very pink and sparkly.
No, we're gonna have to change that.
I don't think you can.
I don't know why you're asking me. Cats are colorblind.
You know what? Try really hard. That doesn't look
He
right.
farts.
You look like you want to get beat up. Should we continue on to
No,
where we were
that's
actually...
low.
No, you need to roll a strength check to maintain your clench. You're fine.
That's pretty good for Morian.
10's not bad. It was just a middle of the road one. Okay. So you guys, so you're able to look at that at your map and see that. So the one that you were loosely headed towards, you'd contemplated going towards the Firelock, which presumably would be on that giant volcano to the south. And to the north, there is the one on the island, and you're not 100% certain which one that would be.
Oh, that's right. Last session, I had tried to dumb speak the word volcano to the guard.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that
also, now. I just realized there's another one that's visible in this time frame. Sorry.
There's 3 locks. So there were 3 locks in this continent right now.
Well, so this is any of the locks that are currently active, essentially.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so yeah, there's the one on the volcano. There's one on that island to the north, and then the island in the middle, between the 2 continents.
So the island.
That one, no. This is a different island. This is where you saw all of the dragons flying around. And this is where, to Morian and Talos, in your knowledge of the future at this point, that's where the Imperial City is located. Is on this island.
And that's where the bridge is getting...
No, the bridge is up here. Bridge is connecting the 2 continents.
That's likely Dragon Lock, is what we're assuming.
Where is
down here is where this is the island that's locked out of time.
Oh, okay.
It's down here. So
the island in between where we saw all the dragons.
Yeah, when you saw the volcano erupt, and you saw the dragons flying around on an island, that's where. Right now, who knows what's currently there? But you know that in your timeline, it was the Imperial City, which doesn't appear to be. Obviously, that empire hasn't come into power yet.
So if we're doing the locks, and I mean, eventually we're gonna have to do the dragon lock. But in breaking the dragon lock, does that make it so that the Imperium has an easier time building their city? And if so, I don't want to help them.
Well, it's no consequence to us. Of course, we could obviously change things, potentially.
Was of consequence to me.
Was, of course, but time has moved on.
We haven't gotten there yet.
It's true. But time has moved on for you, yes? If that never existed, then you wouldn't exist in your current state.
Oh.
No, I've gotten cross-eyed.
You know what? I'm pretty sure no matter what we do, the Imperium's gonna get built, so might as well make ourselves more powerful along the way, right?
What an existentialist view. Well, let's keep going.
I like the idea of more power.
You need all the power you can get, Morian.
Yeah. You know, I have held myself capable in the same fights as you. Except for a few times of one-on-one battles, right?
Let's see, there was the guards, there was the other guards, there was the... Okay.
Yep.
I'd say you have about a 50-50 track record right now.
And yet you treat me like it is all negative.
50 is still a failing grade.
Oh god, that is...
For some reason, Darius went to, like, American public schools.
You cut
unless
me
they're grading,
deep.
unless they're grading on a curve.
Yeah, then 50 could be the only good one.
You know, I never did care much for the school's grades. It was the knowledge that I attained that was more important. And now I know, don't go marching up to trolls or ogres or whatever those big things were and insult them.
Did you go to the School of Hard Knocks?
I went.
So you guys, travel down, going down different staircases. The hustle and bustle is getting more and more as you get lower down. Lots and lots of people. Kids running back and forth. All whole 9 yards of a busy city. And as you finally get closer to the docks, you see them now. The ship has now come in and docked. and there's a whole bunch of people unloading it, just like crates and chests. There's people greeting each other, men and women whose spouses were on the ship running up to embrace them and greet them on their return. A handful of people, being talked to and like obviously very somewhat distraught. They find out that perhaps their partner died on whatever the last voyage was. And amongst all of this, there's a couple of people kind of standing, overseeing everything. There's a man and a woman that definitely seem to be in a little bit better finery. Their armor's, more polished, the bits of it, the metal bits of it that can be seen. And they definitely seem to be of some higher stature, especially since you can assume that more than likely the people who are the strongest probably take the best spoils, and these guys clearly have the nicer armor, the nicer weapons. And they're just kind of overseeing everything and quietly discussing with each other. They're standing on the deck of the ship.
Anybody that looks like the chief, specifically?
Probably the guy in the finery.
Unless it's
Maybe.
the one of them, yeah.
Can we just waltz up to him?
There's a lot of commotion, like on the gangplanks and stuff, so it'd be difficult to get right up to them on the ship, but you could get nearby where everything's going on and kind of observe and wait.
We'll get nearby, observe for when the chief comes off the dock.
So you guys are trying to get a little bit closer, and you see all this unloading. You get a couple. Everyone roll a perception check for me.
I'm good at these. I'm not good at these.
Ooh, I'm not bad at these.
Is this what it's like to roll regular perception?
You
Talos,
still have a
you-
+4.
Talos, you notice, obviously it seems to be like what they're unloading is a lot of the spoils of their conquests. Morian, you're able to very specifically at one point see a chest full of like gold and jewels as it gets like closed properly and locked up to be carried off the ship. Amongst, of course, a lot of other just general sort of resources and whatnot. And yeah, that's what you see with those. Also, actually, Morian, you're trying to kind of see what's going on, and you end up stepping a little bit closer, kind of absent-mindedly. Roll a dexterity saving throw.
Uh-oh.
Ah!
All right, you managed to just barely step out of the way of like this just extremely big woman carrying a crate off of the ship. She kind of like glares at you,
Watch
but doesn't
your
say
step.
anything.
Oh. That's what he would do.
All right,
Talos, do you have any popcorn?
let's roll a d20.
What?
No, I'm gonna die.
Oh, yeah. Whatever the equivalent of popcorn is that I have on me, I'm totally snacking on it watching this.
Eyeballs.
Morian, you say that,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the noise and the chatter around you stops.
Record scratch. I bet you're wondering how I got myself into this mess.
So there is
About
a
to be
hush.
no Morian.
There is a hush, and this woman stops dead, and she drops the crate that she's carrying, and it hits the ground. It makes a bang when it hits the ground.
Oh,
like,
I was gonna try to make
shakes
a-
the ground,
I was gonna try to make an effort to catch it, but
and she turns. Morian, how tall are you?
5'7".
oh no.
This
I'm not
woman
tall.
is well over a foot taller than you. She's 6'10".
Oh no. No.
She is enormous. and she looks down at you, and she is gonna pick you up by the scruff of your shirt. Go ahead and roll either athletics or acrobatics to escape, to oppose her grapple.
Because I'm just so good at any of these.
Goodness. Yeah.
She doesn't even need to roll. Because she has a +9. And but you know what? Let's just roll it for fun. Okay, so it's a 19.
Wow.
And she picks you up by the scruff of your shirt, your jacket, and looks you right in the eyes, and just this cold steel gray eyes. You want to say that again?
Hey, Darius.
Say it.
This is great.
Please say it again.
Do it, I dare you. Say it again, say it again.
You watch where you're stepping for your betters.
It's better than I thought it was gonna be.
This is absolutely brilliant.
I thought Morian was gonna get knocked out. I didn't think he was gonna die.
Okay, so at this point, right, I stopped slouching because I'm like at slouching height, I'm slightly shorter than the woman.
Yeah.
So I just like make sure I just stand myself up to full height and just
you're like,
watch. But
you're
just
like a tiny bit taller at full height, right? You're like 7 feet tall.
I'm 7 feet, yeah. So
Yeah, so
not
you're
to
just
like,
a tiny bit.
I'm not getting involved, but I'm trying to make a point that like, if I do get involved, she might not like it.
Because I have to go full Morian.
Yeah.
As I say that, can I cast Vicious Mockery?
You absolutely can.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
I told you I need to make a new character.
Oh,
and I rolled
DC
a 1.
DC 15, all right.
Yep.
That's a 25 on the wisdom
What
save.
the hell?
It's only a +6, so it's not like it's broken or anything, but
Yeah,
It
rolled
was a
really well.
19.
it's rolled really well. Yeah, I rolled a 19. Doesn't even flinch, doesn't react at all. She's gonna punch you. So we're gonna do that's a 20 against your AC.
Yeah, that'll hit.
All right, it's just a punch, which I believe without any feats that affect it, it just deals your strength and damage. Am I correct on that?
1 plus
1
strength.
plus strength.
1 plus strength. All right, so Morian, you take 6 bludgeoning damage. and get thrown to the floor.
Okay.
And she like goes to stomp towards you, and these two nicely dressed people off of the ship, they vault the side of the ship and land and come back and like essentially they're doing like the hold me back thing with her, and you hear them saying, "Don't do it, Chief. He's not worth it."
Well, she's the chief. Nice. This is cool.
Chief was helping unload because she's one of the people.
Of course.
Yeah.
I should pick myself up. So you're the one in charge, hmm?
The two
Glad
of
to
them that are
see.
the two of them that are holding her back. They as you start talking, they both look at you, and they just like yelling over top of each other. You shut up before this gets even worse for you.
I just
Seems that your manners match the decor.
I'm gonna take like a little sniff around Is
Okay.
there? I want to smell in for anything distinct. Is there anything strange about the air around us?
Ooh.
Specifically, is this woman like? Does she have a distinct scent that would not necessarily be normal human or something?
No, you smell a whole lot of like sweaty human.
Okay.
Yep. That just it's filling the whole area.
Got it.
Because all these people working, doing heavy lifting around here. Yeah, that's all you can smell. Can sense with that. Okay. Morian, make another either athletics or acrobatics check.
I could
All right.
succeed. On
The
a
first
nat one.
the first guard that tried to shoulder in and grab you failed. But the second guard rolled a 17. So he grabs you and like grabs and pulls your hands behind your back. And the chief she pushes these two people off of her. And she gestures at you. And then she looks at the guard that's holding you, and she says, "Take him to the kiln." And you get dragged off.
This sounds exciting.
Yeah, I'm totally following this.
So Morian gets dragged off. Are you like kicking and screaming as you're getting dragged off?
Oh, the entire time.
Okay, I'll have you make a
Full-on
couple of checks
temper
to see if you
tantrum.
get out here and there. As he first gets dragged off, the chieftain looks at the other two of you, who are very clearly out of place, and stomps up to you. Are you with him?
That worm. We know him, but we're not with him.
You know him.
Of him,
Know
at
enough
least.
about it to know he needed to learn a lesson.
He's arrogant.
We keep telling he's gonna have what's coming to him.
And it does happen frequently. You'd be surprised how many times this exact scenario has happened.
All right, she kind of mulls it over in her head for a moment. Finally, she turns and just kind of starts to walk away. And she says to some of the others that are around her, bring them too. Not too rough this time, though. So you kind of get forcefully ushered to follow. You can attempt to resist. They're not like grabbing you like they did Morian.
No, I'll be escorted.
Okay. So you get pushed along. And Morian, make another either acrobatics or athletics check. Okay. Yeah, they rolled a 12. So
They're not
you
even
have the
rolling that
capability
high,
to roll
but-
high. Yeah. No. Okay, so that they still holding you tight as they drag you off. You get dragged into a tunnel carved into the cliff face. And obviously Talos and Darius, you shortly follow with the crowd of people. And this tunnel is lit by torches and just kind of disappears off into the ground. And you follow that along, and it seems like you're walking for quite some time. So why don't you make another acrobatics check?
Okay.
Yeah, so Morian fails to escape again. You get dragged through this tunnel, and after... It feels like a long time, but it's probably only like 10, 15 minutes maybe of them just carrying you through here. It opens up into a larger chamber that's been carved out. And you can see like it's a big like sort of carved out open area, and then up above that are carved in like is like halls and like almost a coliseum type looking thing.
Oh, okay.
And within on the floor is slightly uneven terrain, like it was a cave that already kind of existed, and then they just carved it to make it more angular. But the floor was left alone, and there are bubbling hot springs within the floor here.
Oh.
And you get dragged into this area in the middle, and Morian, you get thrown to the ground. And the chieftain steps in, and a small crowd, including the ones ushering Darius and Talos, all follow in. And then you just hear like a as a gate gets lowered to block off the tunnel. She stands over you, Morian.
Mm-hmm.
So you think you're better than the rest of us, do you?
How close am I standing to Morian?
Well, you know what? Here, let's let you put yourselves on the map.
Oh. These are the hot springs.
These are the hot springs. Go ahead and drop yourselves in, and then I'll drag you kind of to where you would be.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
There's the guy that dragged you in. Okay. So these are all the ones that came in with you guys. Everyone else presumably filed up. There was like staircases connected to the tunnel so they could get up into the upper areas. Don't worry, you're not being forced to fight right now. This is just so you can kind of see what's here if you try anything. Yeah, so she poses that question to you, Morian. Did you think you're better than everyone?
Well, I obviously do not extend my hospitality by hitting people and then dragging them into a hot spring area. So, yeah.
I see. And she turns to the other two of you. And you, do you share his sentiments? Am I not being hospitable?
Oh, well, I don't show his sentiments in the slightest. Honestly, he's kind of despicable.
He's pretty terrible. We put up with him, but
Trust me, we wouldn't be traveling with him if we didn't have to.
So, even your friends don't think I'm being unreasonable.
They're just worried about their own skin. I just say it as I see it.
No, genuinely, I don't think we would be traveling with you if we didn't have to be traveling.
Well, likewise. It's mutual.
She holds up her hand to stop you. I'm going to give you one chance to apologize to your betters. One chance, little man.
I'm gonna look over at Talos. What is Talos doing at this moment?
I'm just like, I'm just mouthing, just do it.
I'm sorry for being rude.
There! Now, can't we all just be friends, huh? And everyone that's like gathered around up in the upper area to watch just starts laughing.
Just ask to...
I'm keeping my eyes locked on Morian, and I'm just like snarling. He's making it clear that if the chief doesn't end him for this royal screw up, I will.
Darius has the biggest, smuggest look on his face.
Was just coming to ask about your city and how to become a part of it.
Didn't I ask you what you think? She turns to Darius and Talos, and she walks up to you, and she says, he's with you. Which means, when you're in my city, it's your responsibility now. This is the one and only warning you're gonna get. And with her saying that it's a warning, everyone up above just boo, because they wanted to see someone get ganked.
I turn to look at the crowd, and I just like I roar, not the daunting roar, just listen to your chief kind of roar.
They a few of them actually do quiet down a little bit. She kind of like, if he causes one more problem, if he insults any of my people, it's all 3 of your heads.
If he
I could
tries to
kill him
insult
for you
anyone
right
else,
now
he
if
won't
you'd
get the
like.
chance.
I would abandon him in a moment.
Well then, I don't see why we can't all put this behind us. And she claps both Darius and Talos on the back and starts to go to walk out. And the guards follow her, and the door cranks open. And Morian, are you going to follow?
I'm gonna just do whatever Talos does.
Well, she has firm hand on the back, pushing both of them out.
Oh, okay.
And just leaving you behind, essentially, Morian. And as they walk through the door, Morian, you stand up tentatively to maybe follow, and then the door closes. And when she turns around and she says, "We're just gonna let you stew in here for a little while. Just appreciate what you've done. Don't get in the water." And then everyone walks away. And a bunch of people are still up in the stands, and they're just like, "Boo." And you know what? Someone throws a tomato at you.
I hope
They
he's
miss.
hungry.
They miss, but it splats on the ground next to you.
I'm just
They
gonna
were
pick it
open.
up and I'm gonna walk to the edge of the gate and just lean against the wall near the gate.
She is ushering the other two of you out, back along this whole chamber.
I take it you don't give warnings out often.
It's a rare moment, but I could tell by the way you were all acting that he's not necessarily the most tactful individual, is he?
Far from it.
No. We
Well, I
mostly
don't
let him do
see-
these things because we like to see him get beat to the ground. But that's for another day.
Well, as long as he behaves going forward, I feel him in a generous mood. And we've just come back from a very successful voyage.
Pray tell, where to?
Oh, here, there, around.
I think we're looking to, well, we haven't exactly decided yet. We have a few potential destinations on our individual journey.
Why don't you find yourselves some entertainment in the town, and you can join us at the feast tonight.
You are.
And we'll see if you're as polite as you seem to be acting right now.
Well, I can assure you I am. Whether our compatriot is, well, we'll have to see about that. But thank you for hopefully teaching him a lesson.
So you get to the end of the tunnel, and then she says, "You can go back and fetch him whenever you like. The guards will let you in." And then she
I appreciate
leaves. And the couple of well-dressed individuals that had been like kind of following around, that appear to maybe be like her advisors or like second in command. She walks away with a bunch of the other people, and they walk up to you two, and they say, "You'd best be grateful,
No, truly, I do appreciate it.
and you keep your friend there on a tight leash."
You
We'll
know,
try.
he can't cause any trouble if he's stuck in there for a while.
It's true.
Well, that's entirely up to you, isn't it?
Perhaps we keep him there until we're ready to leave. That way, we aren't.
It's gonna leave Morian locked up.
There's hot springs. It's warm. It's out of the weather.
Very true. Strategically, it makes the most sense. We're talking. Pure
Why would
strategy.
we get him out of there when he could just cause more trouble?
Well, of course, if he runs his mouth one more time, we're all dead, isn't that right?
Yep.
Or at least have an entire city against us.
Truth be told, if he tries to run his mouth anymore, he might not have one. They won't get the chance to try it.
Darius and Talos, you guys now are free to kind of wander around the town a little bit, or get Morian at your leisure. Morian, you are locked in there until they come get you, unless you want to try and do something else.
Oh,
You
is he
can't
gonna
attempt to
let?
you absolutely can attempt to escape.
Is it a portcullis or a solid door?
It's like a portcullis.
So he can see through the door.
Yes,
So he has line of sight through.
he does.
He could attempt to escape.
Also, the upper platforms are only about 20-ish feet up, so you could conceivably get up that way as well. It just will, potentially affect other things. So,
I am gonna look at Darius and be like, do you think he would do that thing?
Well, try to escape. Get out of there. Or,
Yeah.
well, if he's a slimy little worm, of course he would.
Ah.
No strategy in that head. I suppose we should try to stick around for the feast to be respectful, but probably shouldn't test our luck.
I'm
and
gonna.
Morian, just so you know, there is like one guard stationed outside of the kiln, on the other side of the portcullis.
Good to know.
So the guy can
So
see.
there is a person keeping an eye on you.
Oh, okay, good.
Whether or not they'd be able to do anything, a single guard, you don't know what their strength level is. So.
I'm just gonna start walking around the perimeter till I can't see them anymore and see what happens.
Nothing, as of yet, at least. So, what's everyone going to do?
I'm in a town full of people, and they're not looking down their noses at a beastkin.
No, there's been a few people that have maybe been a little bit kind of like wary of you, but no one's being inherently rude.
Well, this is new. Oh. When I'm from, people don't like, pinklings don't like the furry people. Or the scaly ones.
What are you guys gonna do?
First of all, Talos is just kind of like, at the nonchalantness of the people around him. And then I'm gonna go just kind of wander. Is there any... I don't even... My mind's like, I don't have any sort of goal right now to try to find anything, so I'm just...
Mm-hmm. Well, if you guys are just gonna wait, then we can see if Morian's gonna do anything, and then we can always fast track to if anything happens, or to the feast, or if you go get Morian. So,
Morian is writing in his book to both of them. If you don't get me out of here soon, I'm going to just leave.
We can,
Well-
we can communicate back, correct?
yes, when he messages to you, you can send a short response back. I think it's like there's like a specific
I think it's up to 20 words.
something like that. Yeah.
Promise to be on your best behavior.
You really want to die, don't
I
you?
just write back. I plan to go back to the surface and read this book. And just avoid.
What would you do if we just left now and you got caught? Stay
Please
put.
don't.
Then stay put till we get you.
If I stay put, will you not hurt me for this?
I'll think about it. We'll get you before the feast.
I am taking a nap. Come get me when you're ready.
Good lad. You finally learned your lesson.
I'm just gonna read the book on the history of this area.
I don't say anything back.
Oh
I don't
no,
have
I'm
any
not telling you
specifics.
that. I'm not telling you
Oh,
that.
okay.
I'm
I don't have any specifics, but we'll say like if anything comes up for like this region or whatever, we'll give you advantage on history checks because you're reading through the book.
okay.
So you'll potentially know a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad he warned us before he attempted to leave, because we would have just bounced from the town.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's anything you guys are wanting to do, we'll just kind of fast forward.
We'll wander. Take in
Yeah.
the environment.
So you wander around, just kind of take things in. A handful of people are a little bit like short with you because they were hoping there was going to be a fight. They don't really like dislike you for you. They're just like you potentially were, like your friend could have been a fun fight for them to watch, and they didn't get to. But no one's like outright cruel or rude about it. Talos, did you want to ask anyone about the fact that they seem comfortable with you, or are you just going to take it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
let's.
I don't know the exact wording, but I'm going to ask about that.
Yeah. As you're wandering around, you maybe talk to like a shopkeeper or something, and say like, "Hey, I noticed, like I noticed no one's getting like freaked out about me," and what they essentially tell you is that like, although not often, they do occasionally trade with some of the roving clans from the south. So it's not unheard of for specifically Leonin, but any beastkin in general to come up here and be in the town for a short period of time to do some trading and whatnot. A couple of like warriors are standing nearby, and like they overhear and they talk about how they took Leonin on their crew at one time, who was a great fighter and stuff like that. So they respect your people for your fighting prowess and whatnot.
And I'm just like, you're damn right they are.
And just for funsies, in case the two of you decide to discuss it later, so Morian, while you're reading through this history book, you end up reading about how there were essentially was like a land war in the past with the tribes that were native to the area of the Leonin, and also gnolls and a couple other creatures akin to that did try to fight off a lot of these humans at first when they first settled, but then they were able to kind of come to a mutual agreement to mostly stay out of each other's way. But obviously there wasn't like full-fledged countries or anything. It was essentially just small groups of individuals fighting back and forth, but there was a lot of animosity at first, which had mellowed by this time in history. Obviously your book was written after this.
I am still keeping an eye out for any specific names. Any names especially tied to this time period.
Yeah, you do come across one name. Signe Thorvald, one of the most notorious, feared, and yet well-respected chieftains of the clan.
We never got the chief's name.
Described as being a towering woman who could laugh alongside you one moment and snap your neck the next, which seems vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I'm intimate with the fist of this person.
And she's just a human?
As far as any of you can tell, yeah, she's just a human.
Morian got fisted by the chief. How about that?
Are you guys going to get Morian before the feast, or are you going to leave him to stew in there?
No, I'll go get him.
We'll get him before the feast.
Okay. So they're going to start the feast early because it's like a big celebration thing. So you leave him to stew in there for a couple of hours, basically through the midday. And then in the early afternoon, as you see the preparations going, you'll go and get him.
I'm going to use a hit die to heal.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could definitely have taken a short rest, essentially.
Not by choice.
And I don't think either of the other of you have lost any resources, but you conceivably could count that as a short rest as well.
That's a good hit dice.
I think you only took the one bit of damage, but
yep,
still.
It was only 6, but...
Yeah. So, nice to see. Okay. So, Morian, you're sitting there, you're reading this book, and then you hear Talos and Darius come up the tunnel and talk to the guard, and then he cranks open the portcullis, and you're allowed out.
All right, let's have it.
And what have we learned today?
What do you want me to say?
Nothing. That's the point. Let's go.
I meant every word I said, by the way.
Yes, I know. And if you weren't so fascinating, I'm just waiting for you to drop dead so that I can experiment on you.
I've already dropped dead, darling.
It didn't take.
I'm waiting for somebody to try it again and to see what the results are.
Well, we'll find out when the time comes, won't we?
Yes.
Not even sure I can. I might outlive you.
Very might. And I am fascinated by that.
Well, I'm hungry. Let's go.
So you kind of follow the main crowds you end up going into another area that's been carved out of the cliffs. And it's just this huge like hall, very much styled in like the style of a longhouse, but carved out from the stone. Presumably there was probably a bunch of natural caves in this area, and then they just kind of carved them out more to make them usable space. And they have a giant fire in the center of the chamber that there few people are throwing more logs on, and there's tables all over the place, not really in any sort of hugely organized fashion, but then at the very head of the chamber there's one big table for the chieftain and her retinue. And as you guys step into the hall, they don't really do much on like ceremony. Everyone's already eating and drinking.
Is there immediately any specific place that like outsiders or something could go?
There does not seem to be any spot specifically set aside for that. No, it's just kind of like find space where you can find space.
Would you like to gather together, or should we split up? I think one of us should chaperone. Talos?
We'll rock, paper, scissors for it.
Oh, please don't make me.
I'm gonna go with him. Talos, you should do as you please. You've traveled with me enough. I think it's Darius's turn.
I don't think you get to pick.
After today. Talos, I'll ask you this. Would you prefer to stay with him, or would you rather me?
I put a hand on Morian's shoulder, and I just like a very heavy hand, and I just say to Darius, "I think I can tolerate him a little bit better than you can."
Very well then.
Oh, that was gonna be my only fun.
Oh, you don't get to have fun anymore. Not here.
Clearly.
And then as my hand's on the shoulder, like the claw comes out so he feels the points. And I just say, "Do not speak unless spoken to."
Yes, I feigned politeness to my professors. I can feign it here.
Of course, don't ham it up. We've got to be...
I will
Natural.
be silent or polite. I'm actually just looking forward to a meal.
And I just find any old empty spot, and we'll have a seat.
And I'll find a different empty spot. I don't know. I'll pick a spot that looks nice and open, and not like I'm going to immediately get shut out of any conversation or anything.
So most of the people that are around you guys, everyone's just kind of taking turns sharing like war stories and stuff like that. So obviously most people are trying to crowd around the ones that were just on the most recent voyage.
Mhm.
But anyone else is also just being able to share, like highlights from the past. Any of you that want to like join in can make a charisma check to essentially like share in the stories. And let me see if there's another thing. Maybe I'll allow a different thing as well. So I would allow performance or persuasion. And you know what? For the sake of this one, I'll even allow history, because it's like your personal history. For anyone that wants to like try and tell a story and ingratiate yourself with the people.
All knowledge from a past life history.
Absolutely.
I do have disadvantage at the moment,
It's
Because of-
still a 19.
and it's actually a 21.
Okay.
I got a 19.
And Morian, are you just gonna kind of keep quiet?
For now.
Okay. Yeah. Talos, you join in. You tell a story from your time in the war, which would be far in the future, but they don't need to know that. Darius, you're able to, just because of like the environment and the the blood pumping of everyone being like, yeah, and then I killed these guys and I fought these guys and stuff. You're able to remember this like big battle you got in your past. So both of you will have advantage on all charisma-based interactions with the people during the feast.
Nice.
Going forward. And so this isn't just like one story. We'll assume you guys are like taking part in the conversations now, telling little bits and stories or commenting on things with people and sharing in drinks.
This one time we fought a T-Rex.
And a bunch of people are like, what? Tell us that story,
I died, but then I lived.
So this one time, right? I'm sitting in this. It's like a paddy wagon, and they're trying to throw me through some portal. And I grabbed the guy and threw him in there with me.
This goes on for quite a while, and after a little while, the chief she steps up with a big old mug in her hands, twice the size of any other mug, of course. She yells out to the whole crowd, which there's still a little bit of muffled stuff because everyone's still kind of just partying, but it quiets down a bit for people to kind of listen to her talk, and she doesn't care. Obviously, this is the way things go here, clearly. And she just yells out, tonight we celebrate another successful voyage, and everyone just
Join in.
Yeah.
I'm taking cues from everybody around me.
Sulk.
Press X to sulk. We visited every settlement from here to the southern teeth, and we made each and every one of them regret living anywhere near us. And everyone just
Yeah.
So tonight, fill your bellies and share in the spoils. And she like reaches into a pouch and pulls out and just throws a bunch of gold coins into the crowd. And everyone cheers. A few people get in fist fights to grab them, like more like drunken, brotherly, friendly kind of fist fights, but still. And yeah, drunken, raucous rivalry just kind of continues to carry on into the evening.
Talos,
Yes.
you should ask somebody about the volcano to the south. See if they
Morian.
know anything.
What would you like to know about the volcano to the south?
I want to know if there's a path there or if anybody has been and can tell us anything about it.
I look to my right. Did you hear what he asked?
Oh yeah, a few people have traveled south. We mostly stick to the coasts, but it's just once you get out of the Northlands, you hit the desert, and beyond that, that's where you should know, that's where the Rome is. So we don't really go down there much.
But as far as the volcano and erupting, has it done that yet?
Oh, it erupts. I guess a small eruption every year. It's not like an explosive eruption. I mean, it's pretty much it's an active volcano. It's dangerous territory, but luckily it's there's the desert between us and there, so it doesn't affect us.
Okay. I can imagine embers keep falling from the sky. That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Anything else you'd like to know, Morian?
I leave it to you. I just want to sit and enjoy the meal.
I'll turn to somebody. You all travel the seas. I well, of course. But have you ever been? I'm looking, and me and my crew are looking at an island of sorts up north. You know what's there potentially?
You wouldn't be talking about the Maelstrom, would you?
Maelstrom? That does sound interesting. We might be talking about the same place.
There's the only notable island to the north. No one's, at least that I know of, has ever been there.
Oh.
Surrounded by an enormous maelstrom. Any ship that tries to get close gets sucked in.
Sounds intriguing.
Definitely many a ship lost up there.
I presume. I've heard legends as well of a tribe or group of wandering wolf men. I was thinking about trying to, I don't know, stir some pots there.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage.
So it's a flat roll for me.
While he's doing that, can I see that map again that you drew up?
18.
Well, it's 5 different versions of the map, which is why I haven't like created them in the computer or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Pull back a little. Okay, so we're over on the right,
Mm-hmm.
You're
and then
here.
there's a lock. The volcano from where I'm from is down to the south.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, and then there's the big dragon island to
To the middle.
the middle.
And
that
then the
that
one
wasn't
up
the one you were
north.
gonna ask about.
I asked about the one up in the north.
Okay,
That
but Chuck, you didn't ask about. You weren't asking about the one in the middle. You were asking about the actual volcano, right?
Yeah, the one straight south of us. Or not straight
Okay.
south, but due south.
Yeah, I mean, Talos isn't as interested in that because he's from like the foothills of that volcano.
Don't you want to see it in its early form?
That would be cool.
I feel like that would be pretty fascinating and requires us not to have to get on a boat into a storm.
Not that you know that yet, because I'm sitting
Not that I know.
elsewhere.
Anyways, so okay. So you got
Thank you.
19 on
18.
persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
People always told me stories about the Moon Clan.
Moon Clan. Does that ring
Yeah.
any bells?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
You distinctly remember that the Moon Clan is what other people referred to your clan of blood hunters as.
Okay.
But and you do kind of, at least it's fading in and out, but you do remember somewhat that like it was a very secretive kind of group that you were part of, but you don't remember like why or how or anything like that.
Very interesting. Are they some sort of group or club or cult? What are they? Do you
It's
know?
they're just sort of like boogeymen,
Oh,
I guess. Like it's what kids say. That people tell their kids, like, you'd best be in bed or else the Moon Clan will get you.
oh, I love chasing after legends, don't you?
Not my particular.
Not your cup of tea. I completely understand. Or cup of ale, depending on what you prefer.
Ale for sure.
Yes, of course.
Speaking of, more ale.
Yes, more ale.
I hear. Do I hear that?
Yes, yeah, you hear them yell.
More ale.
It literally just starts a whole big cheer of everyone doing that, and it's funny because so everyone yells that, but then there's literally barrels of ale at every table, and so then
Yeah.
everyone just laughs.
It's like the wave at a sporting event. More ale. And all the cups just.
And then everyone just starts filling them up and laughing.
It's the only business I had.
So I'm gonna look at Morian and be like, "So Sunshine, is there anything else you want to ask? Politely, you can do it. I'll let you."
Oh, I'm so glad that I have your permission.
You're lucky you have your life right now. I hope you know that.
As you will remind me for the next millennia.
I doubt I'm gonna live that long.
We're going
By
to
time
travel
that far.
that much.
True. Well,
No. I have thoughts and opinions that I am keeping to myself until we are out of the city and in a camp of our own making, and I'm ending it there.
cool. Okay.
So as you guys are all kind of just partaking, someone comes up to Darius, and someone comes up to Talos, to let you know that your presence has been requested at the high table, and they look over at Morian, and he can come too.
Oh, he was going to.
It's very appreciated. Thank you.
I give him a hearty slap on the back. That's the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So all of you go up to the high table, and you're sat down across from the chief, who there are 3 now empty barrels of ale around her, and I mean, maybe not all that she drank, because there are a couple other people at the table, but
On the way over, can I cast False Life on myself just in case?
yeah, you can.
Just see her stabbing me for no reason at all after what I read.
I will approach.
I'm gonna ready, and as we're up there, I'm also like readying an action to just cover Morian's mouth as soon as I get like a whiff of anything disrespectful. I'm not holding it there. Just
You all sit down, and she like pushes a few like trays of the different assorted food, like different like meats and cheeses and stuff, just kind of across the table towards you for to like say like hey, go ahead and grab something. She leans back and puts her big boots up on top of the table and says, so now that we are all fed and watered, what brings travelers like you into our little community?
Oh, we were just simply stopping by. Wanted to stop in before we made our way. We're trying to decide whether to go north or south at the moment, and wanted some direction.
Directions, eh? Well, we could conceivably help you with that. What aims do you have to this vague north and south? Takes a big swing.
We're searching after legends, of course. I believe one of our destinations might be the Maelstrom up north. Another potentially could be Volcano in the south. Of course, that one's a little bit less studied.
You're definitely some ambitious strangers, aren't you?
Oh, who would we be if we didn't have ambition?
Good point. Oh, you come into our town, you act like toughens. She looks at Morian when she says that. And then I find out that your 2 destinations are 2 of the most dangerous locations in the world.
What can I say? We like to live on the edge.
I feel like there's something more to you.
You could say we're out of our element.
Does she not see our fancy eyeballs?
have them
No, they're
close.
disguised to others.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that everybody could see the red eyeball. Okay.
You could consciously make it visible to others.
Oh,
But
okay.
but passively they can only be seen by someone else that possesses one.
That's why I
I'm
took
gonna-
off the eye patch. I no
Yeah.
longer wear the eye patch because it faded from view for you two, so I figured it did for me.
I'm gonna feign like rubbing my good eye or my regular eye.
Okay.
And get a gander at the chief's aura.
The chief's aura is it's swirling very energetically, and it is shifting between like calm blues and greens to suddenly like fiery reds, and then back in like a weird sort of miasma.
Well, of course, I myself have some lost time, it will seem. Some abilities that I don't believe are natural, and no real recollection of why or how I ended up in my situation. Although I think I'm piecing some things together. Have you heard of the Moon Clan?
And her expression darkens just a little bit. We've all heard tales of the Moon Clan. What interest does that have to you?
I believe there may be some connection. Not sure. I don't feel great about them.
Roll an insight check.
14.
Yeah. She definitely knows something about the Moon Clan.
He's probably dealt with the Moon Clan.
She is conceivably has dealt with the Moon Clan.
Let's just say that I'm able to change how others view me, and potentially my control over myself. Does that seem to jog anything? No.
She puts her feet down and kind of leans in a little bit. And she leans in and she says, if you're suggesting what I think you're suggesting, then you're on very, very thin ice.
I have no connection personally to them. As I've said, I don't even really remember who they are. I just learned their name from a member out here. I don't know my involvement, what I've done, or who I was. But I know who I am now, and I'm not a fan.
Why then are you so interested?
I
You have
think
no
I'd like-
personal connection, but yet you did things that you don't remember.
I, to my knowledge, have no personal connection. But if my gut instinct about them is correct, I don't think I'd like them to be around much longer.
She stands up. Come with me.
Very
And
well.
starts walking out. That's for all three of you. She gestures to all three of you.
I will follow.
Sure.
Yep.
Oh, poor Morian.
You leave the banquet hall, and it's now the sun's kind of starting to go down a little bit. You can see like the sun, it's sinking beyond over the ocean beyond the horizon. So of course now there's a lot of shadow being thrown down on everything with the cliffs surrounding the area, and kind of leads you down through relatively empty streets. There's a few guards patrolling. Most of them, like sort of like salute to her as she passes. And she leads you into another tunnel that goes deep into the cliff face, and you eventually come to like an old iron gate, and she pulls a key from on a rope around her neck and unlocks it and leads you in. And you go in a little ways further in, and you find essentially a little like jail with a few empty cells, and in a cage in the middle, chained up, is a werewolf.
Oh.
And it definitely looks to be like, even given werewolves' resistances, this one has been beat up a lot.
It seems we have similar goals.
This creature killed many people, and it and its kin are responsible for far worse.
Then you wish the same as I.
If you are going to, if your goal is to eradicate these, then I think we can help each other.
My
Question.
goal.
Mm-hmm.
Are there still through my knowledge of my time, have I heard of werewolves roaming around?
So there's nothing like known as the Moon Clan that
Okay.
you've ever heard of. Roll a history check. This is going to be a very high DC.
I mean, I as well from
Yes, you can
my
as well. Absolutely.
my book reading now? Like, is there-
The book that you read didn't have any mention of this. This is
Okay.
much deeper lore into my world here. So
Okay, so this is just my knowledge in general.
this would just be a flat history knowledge.
Oh, if only I had advantage.
None of you, neither of you at least, know of any sort of group of this. You know that werewolves exist. Like
Okay.
lycanthropy is essentially a disease that can be passed on. It does exist. It's not incredibly common.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, because Morian, you studied, not this book, but you studied history and stuff when you were in school. So I think I might.
I
give you that
studied
advantage.
everything.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give you that advantage.
All I do is read.
Can I also
Morian-
say?
Read and
Oh, go ahead.
posture.
Can I also just say, like, as part of like soldier schooling? That's why I took. That's part of the reason why I took the
Yeah.
proficiency in history.
Talos, you still wouldn't know this with that 17.
Okay.
Still wouldn't be enough. But the 24, Morian, you know that the church, and this is like, you had to dig deep for this, and it's maybe part of the reason that you kind of did some bad things against them. The Church of Light, these are the clerics and paladins and stuff that imprisoned you guys at the very beginning and were taking you to execute. You, Morian, were able to find evidence that they have used lycanthropes, specifically like werewolves, as like, whether or not they had actually full control over them or anything, but they have used them as troops or as in like a weapon capacity, more than just like, oh, there's a werewolf around. Like, they have actively either controlled werewolves to like destroy towns and things like that, or at least caused that to happen. And not just werewolves, other kinds of similarly afflicted creatures. You were able to find like rumors and stuff of the Church of Light doing that. So that's so you definitely know that werewolves organized in some way could still be a thing in your timeline. So she's showing you this chained up werewolf.
Is yours cognizant, aware?
She walks over to the cage and she pulls out some silver wrapping and like wraps like the silver sort of plates on a cloth around her knuckles, and she reaches in and just punches the werewolf in the side of the face. And it kind of squeals like a dog, you know, and like coughs up some blood.
I'm gonna look at Talos and just, I'm not happy.
I look at it, I'm just like, oh.
I want to do something about this. I'm not okay with this.
I put the hand on Morian's shoulder. Are you thinking at all? Trying to communicate?
I mean,
He has to write in his book to do
to
that.
communicate,
Oh,
so I
okay,
can't
wow.
think it. But
I
I'm making it very clear that I am only holding back because it.
I put the hand on the shoulder and just kind of like pull it back a little bit to just communicate, just stay.
I'm gonna take a step back and just look the other direction.
The werewolf kind of sputters, and then it like wearily pulls its head up to look at her and at all of you, and it just kind of like cough. It just You've brought more to beat me. I have nothing else to tell you.
Maybe not, but I'm here now. What's your name?
It looks at Darius, and it your scent is familiar.
Oh, of course. I'm like you. Except I think I've turned a new leaf.
You don't deserve my name.
I would be the extinction of our race. How does that make you feel?
It looks at you, just kind of confused. Why? What? Why?
I'm not sure yet. But we'll figure that out, won't we? We've always worked off of instinct. Well, some of us.
It doesn't know. It kind of like hangs its head back down.
This is very interesting, Chieftain. How did you manage to capture such a beast?
She is unwrapping the silver off of her hand. Ingenuity.
You're very crafty.
We've had to learn. This isn't the first time one of these, and she like bangs against the bars and kind of makes it startle a little bit. It's come into our territory.
I
This
can
whole-
assure you it likely won't be the last. But we can change that.
This whole time, Talos is thinking, but don't they go into other people's territory? Bit hypocritical. I'm not saying it, but I'm thinking it. Like a bit hypocritical, don't you think?
Oh, Chieftain, a god.
No
told
one's
us-
brought it up to her before.
Oh, Chieftain, a god once told us that we'd have to impress you to be even considered here as a citizen. Does this news impress you at all?
Quite the opposite, actually. That creature in there recognized you. You're dangerous.
You're dangerous.
That's a given.
The same could be said for me.
What's important is that who's dangerous to who.
Exactly my point. I can't trust you if you're one of them unless you prove to me that you're not aligned with them. So if you want my trust, if you want my favor, you'll kill this creature right here and right now.
I'll look back at it. And then I'm going to transform.
Okay?
And rip his throat out.
Okay. Yeah. This is essentially an incapacitated target. So the coup de grace rules come into play. Yeah. If no one else does anything, you just rip its throat out. And it just... And then just like limply hangs from the chains. Blood drips onto the floor.
Blood just dripping from my jaws. That's good enough for you.
For now. I can't have you walking around the city like that, though.
Oh, of course not. At that moment, I'll back into myself.
Given you a lot
have.
more trust than your kind deserves right now.
And I'm putting a lot of trust in you not to immediately kill me based on that information.
Yes, seems like there's a lot of trust to go around.
It would. But I'm willing to take risks, as we've previously established. What with the
Really?
maelstrom and all.
What do you want from me? Because I want these dead. And you clearly are willing to aid in that. So we're beginning a transaction here. What can I do for you?
I wish to just be a part of any information you know about them. Not know currently, but any information you may gain. And perhaps any information about joining you in case we may need to go on the hunt. And in return, I will, of course, give you any information I may know as recollection comes to me.
We'll meet again in the morning. I'll give you any information we have. We'll have to talk to some of the other veterans who have dealt with this. See if they know anything else. You figure out if there's anything else you want to know. I don't think it's going to help you in the aid for killing these, but we can give you some guidance as to how to navigate near the maelstrom.
That'd be much appreciated.
As for the Mountain of Fire, not much I can tell you there, apart from heading down south to find it. But if your friend there isn't exiled from the clans, I'm sure they'll be able to get easy passage through.
Very well.
I gave a thumbs up for anyone listening.
Well then, let's go continue to enjoy the feast.
Indeed. Festivities we have.
And she's gonna lead you out and lock the gate behind you, and you guys can head back to the feast. She's gonna confer with people and stuff, and then we'll reconvene in the morning. So,
Chief, Chief, all due respect, I do not want to overstep my bounds here.
No, you don't.
I fancy myself as a scholar. Darius here is wanting to hunt these things. I don't know much about them. Would you allow me to study the body now that it is deceased? Respectfully asking.
There's not any huge problem with that. I'll have the body moved to another location for you in the morning.
Very kind. Thank you. It was very
If you
hard
guys
for
want
Morian
to
to say anything that wasn't rude.
If any of you guys want to do any discussion now, it's late enough that we're gonna stop before the next morning happens. So that'll be next time we play. Will be the next morning. So anything you guys want to discuss between yourselves, wrap up and everything tonight. That's what we'll do for the rest of the session.
Well, I need to be alone with this group, and not around people that will hurt me for talking.
Well, the chieftain leaves you in the streets where it's more empty, so you can confer before you go back into the hall.
Okay, so first of all, where are we staying? If we have to wait till morning.
Yeah, we'll figure out lodging.
Two of them were wandering around. Let's just assume that you were you found an inn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give Darius a look and be like, you just keep getting more and more interesting.
I'm sure there's more, but I don't know that myself.
Me, I'm a simple soldier.
Are you really wanting to just wipe these out?
I believe so.
What?
It could have been slightly overdone, but we did some favor, don't we?
Well, if it's any consolation, from when I'm from, I don't know much about any moon clans, so they can't have gotten too big.
I
Or
don't
they
know
are
about a
gone
moon
altogether.
clan, but the Church of Light was using Lycans for, like, forcing them into being soldiers. I feel like that's an opportunity to...
With any of this information, has your book changed?
Oh, that...
The book's not on the Moon Clan.
Yeah,
No,
the
but
book
it's
doesn't
on
mention the Moon Clan.
But it's on this location, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, I know the
And
name of the chief.
We've made larger connections.
I feel like we'd have to
Does
make
anything change?
I feel like we'd have to make a bigger splash. Like, if we killed the chief, it might... Does it mention the chief and her, like, reign? How she died?
Not in any significant detail. No, it just talks about like that she like her name is one of like the handful of names that are listed specifically as like being the remembered as one of the most brutal but well loved by her people chieftains.
I feel like we'd have to make a bigger splash for the book to...
It's worth a
To
check. All
change.
it takes is to open the book.
I'm reading the book. Has it altered in any way?
Nothing that you've noticed.
No.
Nothing yet, then. Well, this is a good thing to have, because if we do alter anything here, we can reference that.
This is gonna fade from existence after a while.
Unless it just... Oh, we won't it?
Yeah. It's part of
Any
the...
item you retrieve will disappear essentially once its purpose has been met.
Oh, and its purpose has been met.
So it'll hang around. It's not a specific determinate amount of time.
But what if that's
But,
its
like-
new purpose?
Then I'd probably have to
don't know.
call on it again, the way it works.
Oh.
Knowing that it likes to find the same item for me over time and is quite a helpful little...
I do think that having some sort of ability to judge whether we can affect things is important.
I
Well-
feel like just a plain old almanac, a list of facts would probably be a good way to go.
Then it'd have to be something to make a big enough splash to get written into the book. So what are you
Subtle
proposing?
changes. I say we look at things about specific information. There's not a lot of information about lycanthropes in your time, perhaps, but maybe we can quest a book from later on.
I mean, lycanthropes are around. The Church of Light uses them. They're just your clan specifically. It's not known to me.
Correct.
So who knows? Maybe you did end your clan, and
That's not my goal here, though.
oh, you want all werewolves?
I think so.
Why?
Not sure.
Non-human entities are better to keep around.
Yeah, we're pretty awesome.
I mean, you're better
Well-
than the alternative.
To be fair, Talos, you're different. It's not a curse. It's not something you're afflicted by. It is who you are.
Well, if you accept it, it can become part of who you are.
And that's part of learning to control it. But it can't always be contained.
When there's a full moon.
Several different criteria. If I get too tired or too hurt,
I just want to rule over everything. This is more complicated.
I believe I want genocide.
I want to destroy all humans.
I'm
True
okay
genocide.
with that. I don't know about the Lycans. If they're being used, they could be a weapon. If the Church of Light is using them as a weapon, you could free them and they could attack them, creating a power vacuum that I can then sweep in and control.
If we get rid of all humans, there will still be a power vacuum. We're gonna have to do that anyway.
I'm totally okay with the destroy all humans thing. That, I am on board with your goal. It's his goal that I'm not sure about.
What? Wouldn't you just love a mountain of corpses?
Yes!
Then it seems we're in agreement.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, you convinced me. Okay. I will shut up, and I will walk the path of destruction laid before me by you two.
Breathe it in. Smell
Suppose
of.
this means that I'll have to kill myself at some point, won't it?
You probably already have.
Oh, true. Surely. The fact that I remember some of this information means I must be around somewhere.
Oh, that paradox, I don't want to deal with that.
Perhaps that'll be our final stop, yes? Kill myself in the past. Seems fun.
If you break reality before I ascend to godhood, not gonna take that well. You know this, right?
I just don't want to dislocate my shoulder giving myself a high five.
Have one of the corpses of the last human do it.
But I want to give myself a high five if I find myself.
Oh, that.
If we're talking about
High-fives,
paradoxes.
Murder. Would it be murder or suicide if I killed myself in the past?
I mean, I would love to be able to gaze upon myself, so that's totally fine with me. Get to see
Ew.
what you get to see.
Anyways, if breaking reality is what it takes, I'm willing to take that risk.
Listen, if we have to destroy the world to kill all humans, then that's fine with me.
As long as there's enough corpses around to build up my ascension, I'm in.
We can raise it to the ground and you can rule over the rubble.
I am
Of
okay
course.
with this.
We do know that we gain more power, and there is a lot more power promised to us if we continue unlocking these gates, locks.
Which is my only hesitation at this point. The longer we stay here, the closer to death I am.
Well, you want to study your werewolf corpse in the morning, then we'll be on our merry way.
Can we then leave after that, please?
After tomorrow morning, I believe we can make arrangements to leave.
I would like to
head
leave.
towards the
I want my spear
maelstrom.
back.
Meanwhile,
Head towards-
I need to write for a little bit. I'm sorry for what's about to enter your heads. And Morian's gonna sit down and journal, but he's gonna do it with a message, and you all hear just a string of all of the condescending thoughts and feelings that he had over that entire day.
That's right.
Unleashed.
Get it out. Get it out now.
It's non-verbal, so anybody walking by can't take offense.
How good of an artist is Morian? Do you think if he drew a lewd picture, it would beam it into your guys' brains?
It very clearly says words.
Okay.
A picture is worth
he's
1,000 words.
He is a linguist, not an
You can only
artist.
send 20. That's why
So
it's too big of a file to upload.
It's a very
Got the
low
picture.
res photo.
It's just a giant like blurred out smush, and you're like, what is this supposed to be? All right. Well, I think
Cool.
that's a good place for us to stop. So thanks for watching, everybody. This has been an interesting, information-filled episode for kind of jumping back into it. And they managed not to die. Question mark? I mean, it could still happen.
Haven't died yet. Except
So,
Darius. He's already died.
yeah. So, Chuck, I'll pass to you to do your typical stream wrap-up.
Thank you all so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Go check out our Teespring. Get the awesome awesome notebook. I cannot wait to take this.
I
It's
really
so
do
tough.
want that.
It's so good. And it's the perfect size, too. It's not too big. It's
Yeah.
not bulky, but it's not tiny either. My pint glass should be coming soon, so I'll show that off on a stream. Just, yeah, do all the socials. Check out our stuff. Thank you so much. But as always, may you roll those nat 20s and avoid those critical fails. And have a good night.